Welcome back from that short break. This is still the Gavel. Up next is another chat, this time with a lawmaker who has also served as a former chairman of the Committee on Rules and Business in the House of Representatives, Senator Emmanuel Jeff. He starts off with a comparison between the 7th and the 8th National Assembly, especially when it comes to lawmaking.
Let me start this way. In the first year of the 8th Assembly, or in the first 6 months of the 8th Assembly,
Yes.
About 130 bills were passed. And, but throughout the life of the 7th Assembly, all the bills that were processed were 600. That is, those that were processed.
In the length?
In the entire life of the 7th Assembly. And those that were passed were not up to what was passed in the 6 months of the first first year. That is the first 6 months of the 8th Assembly. So that should give you an idea about the volume of work that was done by the 7th Assembly. And at the end of it all, we are talking about 387, I believe, bills that were passed by the 8th Assembly, incomparable to any other assembly in the history of Nigeria. So this assembly, the 8th Assembly, has been hyperactive in terms of pursuing its lawmaking responsibility.
Just as you said, it will appear that the National Assembly, the 8th National Assembly, worked well, passed a lot of bills, but also corresponding is the large number of bills declined assent by the president. The president actually withheld his assent to a large number of bills. Some would say the largest number in the history of the parliament. Now, if you go through some of those bills, it appears there are recurring issues. A lot of them, duplication errors, drafting errors, difficulty to implement. He says that as it is, they are even watering down some bills. These look like very serious allegations, let me put them as that, or observations, when it's supposed to be the National Assembly's primary focus is lawmaking. And when the executive arm points out that it appears the National Assembly is not only duplicating laws, but also passing laws that are difficult to implement, I would like to get your own view on some of these issues.
Well, on the face of it, that may appear to be a very valid concern.
Yes.
And in some ways, in some few cases, that may be. But as an insider, as presiding over the Rules and Business Committee, I had the impression that some were mere excuses. Some of these complaints were mere excuses to throw out certain bills that the executive arm of government was not happy with. And also, the frosty relationship between the executive and the parliament also accounted for rejection of some of it. A good example is the electoral bill. I think 4 times, or if not 5 times, it was passed and rejected, taking into account the complaints from the executive arm of government. What they pointed out as being the inadequacies of that, everything will be figured in and taken back, and they will find a whole new set of excuses. And until one had the impression that they were not too comfortable having that, even though they knew it was a good piece of legislation, they were not comfortable signing that before the elections. For whatever reason, they felt that should happen after. Because if you look at what is happening at the tribunal now, some of those things that they are saying, oh, it does not exist, were contained in the amendment bill. Okay. Look at the Ajaokuta completion fund bill. The only excuse that the president gave, or about the only excuse that he gave, was that where will they have that kind of money and to complete Ajaokuta? Everybody knows that you cannot talk about industrialization without a steel complex like that. It would have gone a long, long way, apart from unemployment, gone a long, long way to facilitate the industrialization that we crave for. But all they said was that where do you expect us to get the 1 billion to, and that for them, it was a valid excuse for not signing the bill. So in some instances, yes, because I can't in all good conscience say that everything was perfectly done. But in several instances, I saw politics more than the excuse that they gave.
There is a two part of this. The way the Constitution had framed it, if the president declines a bill, the National Assembly still can, if they feel strongly enough. But the impression it appears is that the National Assembly agrees with the president most of the time. And even the National Assembly does not seem to have worked out ideally what a response should be to a bill that is has been sent back by the president. If not for the last leg of the 8th Assembly and in both chambers, when special committees were set up to really interrogate this, it appears the National Assembly is really not clear.
Larry, that is where politics takes over. Section 58, I believe, of the Constitution is very clear on the procedure to take. If the president rejects a bill, vetoes a bill, after 30 days, you act on it, and you can overturn the presidential veto. But at that level, people recline into their partisan shells, and you discover that the willpower to act on such, because you'll be seen as moving against your party. And especially people who are looking up to coming back, they think, oh, the party will move against me if I take that kind of stand. That is no longer, at that level, I'm sorry to say, you discover that it's no longer looking at exactly what the law is or what the legitimacy of the situation is, but the politics will take, that's the impression I have.
So going forward now, if you were to give an advice for maybe from your wealth of experience and your role, the role you played, how would you say going forward the National Assembly should work to see more bills passed? Will there be need to still take some of these views into consideration?
Even then,
drafting.
Look, Larry, even then we took the views from the presidency into consideration. That's why we reworked the electoral bill 3 or 4 times. Each time they came, not that we pushed it back or we tried to override presidential veto, we looked at their consideration, their concerns, and we reworked it and sent it back. They'll find a whole new set of excuses. So that shouldn't be an excuse at all, because we really did work. And if for any reason we felt that the concerns of the president were legitimate, sometimes we abandoned it. I mean, they are right, so we abandoned it. So that should continue. For me, every of those concerns were largely because of the emergence, the way the leadership of the 8th Assembly emerged. I think somebody somewhere never forgave them for emerging the way they emerged. But now that cannot no longer be an excuse again.
Now, within the week under review, the President of the Senate received a number of visitors in his office. The Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives also received some visitors. Who were the visitors? What were the issues discussed? Our final report contains the details.
The first set of visitors to the President of the Senate during the week under review were members of a group known as the Forum of Senators, made up of past and serving senators. The purpose of the visit was to congratulate him on his emergence as President of the Senate and also to pledge their support. The Senate President seized the opportunity to speak on his plans for the 9th Assembly. He then addressed speculations of senators being heavily paid.
We belong to political parties, but once we are here, Nigeria is our constituency. So we are going to follow the path of peace, but we are going to be very seriously and systematically entrenched with the oversight. Any minister or chief executive officer of an organization that is expected to function must function. I never believed that there is anything called jumbo pay to the National Assembly. The National Assembly members, both the Senate and the House, receive what is their salaries, and I receive 750,000 as my salary. But I need to function as a senator. My office needs to be properly funded. And therefore, I cannot conduct my oversight without some funding. So I believe that Nigerians need to understand this.
Of recognizing the next visitor, moments later, was the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Mohammed Adamu. IGP Adamu was prepared with requests.
Is to ask for more support, encouragement, and motivational leadership of the Senate so as to achieve the urgent consideration and passage of the police reform bill, which we know it is still pending, in terms of restructuring and reviewing our budget process, amended to the police, so that every state command should have its own budget separate from that of force headquarters, both capital appropriation and overhead. With that, we know that if the appropriation is passed to law, every command will know the amount that is supposed to spend, rather than everything coming from police headquarters, and then police headquarters will be sharing it in the extent that it will not be very effective.
The Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives also received some very important people as far as the National Assembly is concerned. They are members of the Parliamentary Staff Association of Nigeria, the National Assembly chapter.
We expect cooperation from your own side so that together we move the country forward. Members cannot operate very well if the staffs who are supposed to be supporting do not have the enabling environment. So I want to say that we shall partner with you people to ensure that we move collectively as one house.
Now, the National Assembly should be resuming on Tuesday the 2nd. It's expected that by then, the offices of the lawmakers will be ready and their seats in the chambers allocated. We also expect that the majority and minority leaders of both chambers will be revealed, as well as the lawmakers that will take up the remaining leadership positions. So much to look forward to in the coming week as we wait to see what this 9th National Assembly is made of. Remember, we will have it all for you here on the program. Well, that is all we have for you today. Thanks for staying with me. I'm Lanre Lasisi. Take care.